Hello everyone, François from ARRI. We're at Profusion Expo in Toronto, Canada. And this year we're showing the brand new Alexa 35, a new creative tool that is really based on customers' feedback. I'm also showing the Signature Prime that is the latest generation high-end modern glass that was created for these cameras that have so much more dynamic range, color production, all these things that we knew were coming, so we had prepared the lens for that. Of course, we have our accessories, mat box, motors, wireless control system, so our hi-fi. But most people have been asking about the Alexa 35. So the Alexa 35 in a nutshell is 35 millimeter opening on the sensor. So it means you can use the vintage glass that you're used to, that you wanted to experiment with, but you can still use that modern glass like the Signature Prime. It does not in any way sacrifice in quality. On the contrary, we can do so much more with this camera. So it's not only a new sensor, a new processing, it's also a new color science that we call the reveal color science, which means that we have a camera that is much more sensitive, can shoot in really low light environment, shockingly low light environment, but also a camera that has huge dynamic range, 17 usable stop, and you might be able to pull a little bit more than that if you want to. We also have a camera that offers new colors that were not possible to capture before, part of the reveal color science, which is backward compatible with many of the Alexa products we've done in the past that are shooting in RAW. So there you have it, a camera that gives you access to the vintage glass that you wanted to use, a camera that gives you huge capability so that you can focus on the storytelling, on crafting a picture, and not on fixing issues. Oh, and I was going to forget, we also have textures that were added in this camera because it is so sensitive, it's so clean, that we added a texture level that is developed quite ingeniously. And these textures are going to add to your picture to bring it a little bit closer or really close to celluloid capture. Just like we're seeing, there's a little bit of interest, there's kind of a bump in the interest to shoot film stock, Super 35, 16 millimeter and so on. So for those of you who would be interested in doing a couple of projects in celluloid, you're going to find that this camera will give you a lot of these characteristics, which if you're going into a virtual production environment and you find that the background on your LED walls a little bit too artificial, you're going to see that these textures add a nice little detail that really sell the shot. When you're ready, thank you.
Do a clean recording on the audio. Thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
Recording?
Okay. So at this point, no sound, just a 360.
Sound.
Okay.
Actually, if you do me a favor, since we're here, just walk your way back. Just point out there. Point out. Let's just.
Oh
Point
yes,
out,
yes. Okay.
I'll take this. I'll hand it to you when you want it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So what we have here are the accessories, traditional mat box in this
Pass it
case.
back.
Okay.
That way. Yes.
Okay. So what we have here are traditional accessories, our LMB 4x5 that is fully configurable, can be set up as studio, clamp on, can be 2-stage, 3-stage, can be adjusted in the field without any tools. Then we have the Signature Prime, so a modern glass that offers you almost no geometric distortion, no focus braiding. It is a lens that has some optical characteristics that are baked in that are based on customers' feedback, on director of photography's feedback. What do they like about an anamorphic lens? What do they like about a spherical lens? How do we craft that? So these lenses were really created to take advantage not only of vintage look, but also of the new sensor, new color science, and everything that we knew was coming. And then we have the Alexa 35 that is a fantastic camera because it is a new creative tool that doesn't block you on some shots where you would have spent time to fix things instead of concentrating on the storytelling. So the dynamic range is so wide that you don't have to waste time flagging and doing things like that, so you can go quickly to shoot. It's a camera that's really, really sensitive, so it means that we can shoot in really low light environment without having to do noise correction. We also have an enhanced sensitivity mode in the camera that lets us really go into even lower lighting conditions, so it's quite shocking. In addition to that, we have full full control compatibility with our existing wireless control system, in this case the Hi5, that is an evolution of our WCU4 that we had for many, many years. So this device can be controlled and connected to your phone, so you can map all your lenses, safeguard any information, so the work that you spent mapping lenses is going to stay with you and not move along to the next person renting the unit. You can take files in and out or work with multiple people on set. So all of that gives us control over a really powerful creative tool that is the Alexa 35. If you want to know more about the camera, just come join us at Profusion Expo 2022. Okay. What we have here is the new B-mount battery structure. Interesting thing about the B-mount battery structure, actually I need to redo it because I need to do one little thing for battery. Okay. So we're still rolling?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll cut it.
One thing about the Alexa 35 is with all these extra dynamic range, color and everything, we do consume a little bit more. So a couple of years ago, ARRI and Bebop worked together to develop a new battery mount that's called the B-mount. And the idea of the battery mount, the B-mount, is that it's finally a system that many manufacturers are on board with. So basically we have consistency in what we're doing. So everybody has the same mount. That includes manufacturers like Swit, Bebop, Anton Bauer, many other companies, Core. So all these companies are doing B-mount. And the interesting thing about B-mount is it is side loading. So we have a system where we are able to have a Hollywood mount if we want, and we don't have to take the battery out. So for those of you who work Steadicam and you're walking and the battery pops up, it's not going to happen with B-mount. The other yes.
What makes it different?
The other thing about B-mount, the side design prevents the battery from sticking out. We also have a battery. In this case, it's a Bebop battery. So it comes in with a USB connection, USB-C, bidirectional DTAP. It also has a built-in flashlight. So it's quite useful when you're on set and you're looking for your camera. And then you can connect your battery back. The other thing that's important is that we have many director of photography that control the camera like that. They're holding the back of the camera. So you're not going to have flex in the battery. Really important. And if you're doing any type of brushless gimbal, so whenever you have an accelerometer, let's say a product from DJI or from Tilta and so on, where you're basically stabilizing, or Trinity, you're not going to have a situation where you have vibration in the camera that tries to be compensated. So the B-mount is a 24-volt system that can be switched to 12 volts if needed. And the interesting thing here is that it is, in this case, sandwiched in two batteries. So currently we have in our menu communication. So it means that if I look at this battery, it tells me my battery 1 is a certain percentage, which in this case is 83%. Battery 2 is 22%. So it tells me which battery was used. And currently we are on the external power. If I disconnect the external power, automatically this battery is going to tell me that it is now the load-bearing battery. Everything is powered by this one. And as soon as I remove this battery, it transferred to the previous battery. So we can see which one is supplying power to the camera. At any moment, we can go back to our external power and our battery is now going to turn off. So we always have a fresh battery ready to go. So we always have a fresh battery ready to go, regardless of what we're doing. And we have batteries that can be safe to travel because we can have stacked battery of less than 100 watts. So that's the advantage of the system. And these will work really well on our lighting fixture. That would be the sky panel, the S30, S60, S120, and we can combine batteries. But we now have a battery that works well in the camera department, lighting department, so that you don't need to carry tons of different charger, tons of different battery type, and so on.
Can you talk about the Viewfinder? Is that new or is this existing?
It is the same one that we had on the Mini LF. So I can say a couple of things about it.
Yes, please.
From a viewfinder perspective, the beauty is that we're using the same viewfinder we did on the Mini LF. So there's no learning curve. You get the quality of the MVF2 we had on the Mini LF. So you have a high-speed glass optics, lots of diopter adjustment. So if you don't want to wear glasses, we can cover pretty much any optics correction. And because you have a faster glass, we have a wide viewing angle. Really high-end optics inside of it, which means that if you're looking at those 17 stops of dynamic range, the only way to really take advantage of that and see it is with that optics. And all of that is mounted on a new system that is double articulated. So traditionally we would have our viewfinder mount that would be fairly short, and then we could extend it with a VB3, a viewfinder extension bracket. In this case, I kind of have a system that is in between, so I can adjust for different height. So if we have a DP that is 6 feet, if we have a DP that is 4 feet, and so on, we can adjust it. Double articulated gives you much more control. And if you wanted to take all of that handle and remove it quickly because you're doing Steadicam work, you're not gonna have to waste too much time. You basically have only one screw, you're out, ready to go. So it makes for a small form factor, easy to move on to the next shot, and we can double balance the camera. So we have a double sliding system so we can move the camera forward or back without having to remove it from the dovetail. So all things are based on customers' feedback. We're looking at first ACs on set, we're looking at second ACs on set. We take a lot of notes and we see how we could make their life easier. So that's it. It's François from ARRI. This camera is already shipping, so if you have any question, arri.com.